けねえ。顔色。誰だてめえは。まさか赤髪海賊だ。
急な覇気やめてくれ。
そばにいんのか。
君たちにはきつすぎるぜ。
何も卑怯とは言わねえがよ、海軍。
お前らと戦う気はねえ。まだな。
そんなに怖いか。新時代が。
わかったよ。
In One Piece, there are moments that fill us with joy and make us smile, but there are also times when the laughter fades and the characters show a side that can shake the entire world. From peak aura entrances to humiliating enemies, these are the moments when One Piece characters get deadly serious.
海軍の包囲は予想したが、島の形が変わるほどとは。
名号レイリー。
遅くなってすまない、ハンコック。おい、白ひげの見習い小僧、大人げないが、私はお前が嫌いでね。
We started this list strong with the legend Rayleigh. Now we have a moment that shows what happens when you cross a line. Bellamy had mocked Luffy's dream and laughed at him before, but when he stole from Luffy's friend, that's when Luffy got deadly serious.
あいつらが友達だって。何が黄金鏡、何が空島だ。いや、消えた。
俺は処刑人ロシオがやられた時の。
眠る時代は終わったんだ。海賊の恥さらしども。いや、現実を生きる資格もねえのさ。
パンチの打ち方を知ってるかって？
Next, we have one of the boldest statements in all of One Piece. The Straw Hats weren't just fighting for themselves, they were fighting for Robin's freedom. And when Luffy gave the order, the crew didn't hesitate. The moment that flag burned, it wasn't just fire in the sky, it was a declaration of war.
これが世界だ。
ソゲキング、あの旗、撃ち抜け。
了解。ファイヤーバードスター。
アタック。
世界政府に宣戦布告しやがった。
ロビン、行きたいぞ。いやー、生きる。
守ってくれる仲間が現れる。
生きたい。私も一緒に海へ連れてって。
Up next, we have a moment that shows why Zoro and Sanji are called the wings of the future Pirate King. Their entrance was nothing short of epic. Usually they argue with each other, but when they team up, you know it's going to be a moment to remember.
もう気が済んだ。降参。花形登場だよい。ディアブル煉獄ムーンセット。おい、ぐるぐる、この戦いを制したらよ。ああ、見えてくるな、ルフィが。海賊王になる姿。
And just like Sanji and Zoro said, Luffy is the future Pirate King. In this scene, he proves it, showing no fear as he stands tall against two emperors of the sea.
俺の前でも随分大口叩いたよね、麦わら。
お前が一体何になるのか、もう一度言ってみろ。
ゴムゴムのヘッドロック。
お前が殴り倒されるなんて。
これはモンキー D ルフィ超えて 海賊王になる男だ
On Punk Hazard, when Virgo had the upper hand because he held Law's heart, he felt unstoppable. Even Smoker tried to bring him down, but quickly realized he stood no chance. Virgo was simply too strong. But then the tables turned. Once Smoker managed to get Law's heart back, everything changed. What followed was pure humiliation.
君らしくない戦術だったな。なぜ必要に能力を使う？遊びはおしまいだ。鬼たけ！
確かに返してもらった。
これで借りはなしだ。
おかげで助かったのも事実だな。
さっさと蹴りをつけろ。
これで終わりだ。
When Jinbei decided to leave Big Mom's crew and join Luffy, he knew the risk of defying a Yonko. Big Mom tried to intimidate him, using the same fear that kept everyone else under her control. She made it clear nobody walks away without consequences. But Jinbei didn't waver. Calm and unshaken, he stood in front of her and made his choice clear. In that moment, he did something only Jinbei could. He respectfully disrespected Big Mom.
Stay our life!
ライフじゃ。
死にな。
まさかここでジンベエが。
Stay our life!
魂が出てこねえ。1ミリもママにビビってねえんだ。当然じゃ。海賊王のクルーになろうちゅう男が4カごときに臆しておられるか。寿命を取らんのなら杯は返上する。ビッグマム海賊団をやめさせてもらう。どうもお世話になりやした。
When a celestial dragon shot one of Luffy's friends, even the one who was shot begged him not to fight back, knowing the punishment that would follow. But Luffy's expression said it all. In that moment, there were no jokes, no hesitation, only silence before he acted.
ごめんだ。前ムカつく。
文字通りお前がこの苦痛を受けろ。試してみろ。どうだ。
返させてくれ。
When the entire crew was wiped out by Kuma, a deal was made so that Zoro could take Luffy's place. Without hesitation, he accepted. And in the aftermath, Zoro said these iconic words, a moment that has become one of the most unforgettable scenes in all of One Piece.
どこだ。何もかも無事なわけねえ。いた。
何もなかった。
誰も遠くへ行かねえように。俺にはついてこれねえぞ。いや、セカンド。
During Eni's lobby, Luffy knew the crew was up against enemies far beyond anything they had faced before. And that's when he revealed a new level of power, Gear Second. In an instant, his speed, his strength, his entire presence changed. Blueno had no idea what was happening, and before he could even react, he was completely overwhelmed. Luffy humiliated him, leaving no chance for a comeback. This was the moment the world saw that Luffy wasn't just chasing after his dream. He was ready to fight anyone who stood in his way. We stay at Ini's lobby, where every Straw Hat faced an enemy far beyond anything they had seen before. Sanji fought against a brutal opponent with an iron defense, and at first, it looked like he was outmatched. His kicks made no real impact, but then, for the very first time, he unleashed a power we had never seen before. With flames wrapped around his legs, Sanji showed his resolve and proved he was ready to push past his limits.
Diablo Jump. その破壊力は悪魔のごとし。光、なんだこの蹴りは！ディアブルジャンプ。プルミエールアッシュ。ディアブルジャンプ。フランバージュ。シャットー！
A few years later in Wano, Sanji revealed another new power. In the middle of his fight with Queen, his body began to change, awakening abilities tied to the Germa bloodline he had always rejected. For a moment, Sanji questioned what was happening to him and feared losing himself. But instead of breaking, he made a choice. He would fight with this new strength on his own terms, not as a soldier of Germa, but as Sanji of the Straw Hat Pirates. Back on Water 7, the Straw Hats showed once again why you should never mess with them. When Frankie stole from Usopp and left him beaten and humiliated, it crossed a line. Usopp might have felt powerless in that moment, but the crew wasn't about to let it slide. And when they walked up to Frankie's house, calm and silent, you just knew it was going to be epic. That was the moment everyone realized what it truly means to mess with a Straw Hat.
ふざけた家。
麦わらのルフィ。
ゴムゴムのキャノン。おめえら骨も残らねえと思え。
来るぞかかれ。
After Kid defeated Big Mom, his confidence was sky high. So high he thought he could take on another Yonko. But this time, it wasn't Big Mommy, it was Big Daddy Shanks. And Shanks didn't waste any time showing the difference.
さすがだな。ケストだ。赤髪。カムサイ。
If you've watched until here, thanks a lot for your support. Let me know your favorite moment in the comments. And also, if you'd like to see a part 2.
Get push! Snake Man!
On Whole Cake Island, Luffy faced Katakuri, a fighter unlike anyone he had ever met before. Katakuri wasn't just strong, he was overwhelming. Faster, sharper, and seemingly untouchable, he read every move before it even happened. At first, it looked like Luffy had no chance, but then he revealed a new Gear 4 form, shifting the tide of battle and proving once again that he refuses to be left behind. The fight dragged on, brutal and exhausting, pushing both men past their limits. It became more than just a clash of strength, it was a test of willpower and determination. And in the end, after giving everything they had, the two warriors shared something rare, a mutual respect forged not through words but through battle.
パワーでも速さでも
損切りボス。
餅がベタついて全然離れね
終わりだ麦わら。
ゴムゴーブラックマンバ。無ゴムのキングコブラ。
すっきりの茶。もう逃げられんぞ。
Next on our list, Zoro faced King, Kaido's right hand, and one of the deadliest fighters in the New World. From the start, King's power, speed, and durability seemed overwhelming, pushing Zoro to his absolute limit. But Zoro never backed down. With every clash, he adapted, sharpened his resolve, and pushed beyond his limits. This fight wasn't just about survival. It was about proving that he has what it takes to become the world's greatest swordsman. And in that moment, Zoro showed why he's truly in a league of his own. After 2 years apart, the Straw Hats finally reunited on Sabaody. But of course, Luffy was still the same as ever. Dumb enough to mistake a group of fake Straw Hats for the real crew. But when a pacifista appeared and locked eyes on the real Luffy, everything changed. In that instant, Luffy didn't need words. His aura alone farmed the battlefield and made it clear how far he had come.
Ose. いや、セカンド。ジェットピストル。
In Oden's flashback, we witnessed one of the most legendary sights in all of One Piece, Roger's crew facing off against Whitebeard's crew. Their very first encounter was powerful enough to shake the island and show why these two names stood at the very top of the pirate world. And in the middle of that chaos came a brief but unforgettable moment. Rayleigh stopping young Marco in the most disrespectful way possible.
Two 人の激突。ロジャー海賊団対白ひげ海賊団。拮抗する激闘は3日3晩続いた。
調子に乗るなよい。
少年、私は常に真剣なんだよ。
On Egghead, chaos was already at its peak. Luffy was clashing with Kizaru, Zoro was locked in battle with Lucci, and Sanji, as always, was busy saving women. But then something happened that nobody ever expected. One of the 5 elders, Saturn, stepped onto the battlefield. Even before he arrived, everyone could feel it. Something terrifying was coming, and the atmosphere turned ice cold. After decades of staying in the shadows, the elders finally decided to take matters into their own hands and get serious.
物じゃねえか。久しぶりだ。
On Punk Hazard, when Tashigi faced Monet, the battlefield was completely under Monet's control. Her Logia powers made her nearly untouchable, and Tashigi was quickly pushed to the brink. But then, Zoro stepped in. With a single swing, he saved Tashigi, simply saying, "Time's up." And the moment he entered the fight, his aura alone was more than Monet could handle.
何手を出さないじゃないの。
俺はぼちぼち先に進む。
今完全に私を切る気で斬撃。
もう中に会ったことあるか？俺はねえな。
一刀流。
何？体が動かない。
大神官。
Next, we have a pure flex moment from Luffy. When the crew was surrounded by over 100,000 fishmen, Luffy didn't even break a sweat. With a single burst of Conqueror's Haki, he stopped the chaos in an instant, leaving both enemies and allies in shock. It was the moment everyone realized there's no going back anymore. From here on out, things were only going to get real.
おい、ルフィ。
ルフィ様。
4億の首俺がもらった。俺だ。
When Big Mom's crew tried to enter Wano, Kaido's men were watching through the live broadcast. But as the minutes passed, it became clear Kaido's crew just couldn't stop them and get the job done. King, annoyed by their failure, decided to step in himself. And when he faced them, he didn't care that it was an entire Yonko crew. He took them on alone, without hesitation.
何を船一隻に手間取っている。ついにワノ国か。
あいつはキングか。
なんだあれは。
しろ。
うわ着いたぞ、ワノ国。
あいつまだ。
貴様。
ワノ国の地に踏み入れさせはしない。
Now we have a moment where Jack pushed his luck too far. After already leaving the island in ruins, he returned with his fleet, confident he could finish the job. The ancient elephant carrying an entire nation on its back looked like just another target to him. But this time, Momo gave Zunisha the order to fight back, and with that command, Jack learned the hard way who the real elephant was.
承知した。
この気迫。何をする気だ。
花。
When Impel Down was thrown into chaos, the Warden Magellan stepped in to clean it up. And when he realized he was facing Blackbeard and his crew, he didn't waste a second. In an instant, he reminded everyone who the real boss was, wiping out a future Yonko like it was nothing.
おめんがマゼランか。ヒドラ。だこりゃ。毒か。お前たちがここへ来た理由を。
At Hachinosu, we witnessed one of the craziest entrances in One Piece. Even after decades of service, Garp proved he is still a force that can shake the seas. When he unleashed his galaxy impact, the island itself seemed to crumble under his might. It wasn't just a punch, it was a statement, reminding everyone why the hero of the Marines remains one of the most fearsome men in the world.
Impact!
At Marineford, the battlefield was already chaos. But when Whitebeard entered, everything changed. His very presence shifted the war, showing why he was feared as the strongest man in the world. But when Akainu killed Ace, Whitebeard's rage exploded. Imagine if Garp had done the same for Ace like Whitebeard just did for his son. The war descended into total chaos, and there was only one man who could bring it to a halt.
よくやった。若い海兵。キャル数秒は、良くか悪くか、海の運命を大きく変えた。
あれは、あの船、新世界の四皇がいるんだよ。
この戦争を、終わらせに来た。
一人で背負い込み続けていた。
オロチを、カイドウを、撃つぞ。
After Odin got trolled and humiliated by Kaido and Orochi, there was only one path left, to face him directly. For years, Odin had carried the weight of Wano on his shoulders, enduring mockery, sacrifice, and betrayal. But when he realized that they had lied, the time finally came. He stood tall, ready to put everything on the line. His clash with Kaido wasn't just a fight, it was a battle that embodied pride, pain, and the hopes of an entire nation. The ground itself trembled as the two forces collided, a reminder that very few in history had ever dared to challenge Kaido so boldly. Odin struck with such force and spirit that Kaido would never forget the scar it left behind.
随分と粘るじゃねえか。あの国でお前の好きにはさせない。カイドウ、おでん二刀流、トツカ。俺はここで行かねえんだ。オーゲントツカ。
Kaido is one of the best villains in all of One Piece. We just saw how deceptive and cruel he can be, but when it comes to pure strength, his dominance is on another level. Just watch this scene. The difference in power was overwhelming, and Kaido reminded everyone why he's feared as the strongest creature and the ultimate one versus one fighter. Kaido may be the strongest creature in the world, but Luffy wouldn't be Luffy if he didn't come up with something completely new. When Gear 5 was revealed, One Piece broke the internet. The hype was unreal. I still remember waiting for that episode, and when it finally aired, it felt like the entire world was watching together. This transformation instantly became one of the most iconic in all of anime history. The budget for that episode was insane, and every second was worth it. With Gear 5, Luffy didn't just keep fighting. He made the impossible look fun, in a wild, almost cartoonish way that only One Piece could pull off. Man, if you've watched until here, that's already over 30 minutes of pure One Piece entertainment. Drop something in the comments and give me a hint that you've watched until here, like a flex emoji. Other than that, see you in the next video. And now, enjoy some epic egghead moments from the latest episodes.
ね、お父さん。
そのね、クマだ。
When your kids are in danger, a father would do anything, just like Kuma, flying across the world to reach Egghead and protect his daughter. Because in the end, love is unbeatable. And that's exactly what Sanji has always stood for. Whether it's his crew, his friends, or the women he swore to protect, Sanji shows us that love can be just as powerful as any attack. And when Kizaru tried to kill Bonnie and Vegapunk, Sanji made the impossible possible.
諦めろ。
嘘だろ、お前レーザーだぞ。
俺には関係ねえ。愛は光より強えんだ。
物理学は終わっちまうよ。
On Egghead, things couldn't get any crazier. An admiral and one of the 5 elders stepped onto the battlefield against Luffy. The clash with Kizaru gave us some of the most beautifully animated fighting in all of One Piece, while Saturn's entrance was pure epic, unlike anything we had ever seen before. And while Luffy was toying with Saturn, Kizaru made his move and struck down Vegapunk. That's when Luffy stopped playing around and got dead serious.
ベッキムーンおままおっさんを連れてけ。痛がっても構わねえ。ジーピンピン
どけ。
どうしたどうした。お前らは逃がすわけねえだろ。
With all of the 5 elders on Egghead, the situation went from bad to worse and the Straw Hats were in real danger. On the main battlefield, however, Zoro was nowhere in sight. Not because he was lost, but because he was still clashing with Rob Lucci. When Jinbei found him, Sanji was already pissed off. And the moment Zoro heard Sanji's words, he got pissed too, and finished the fight instantly.
足手まといが。
足手まといが。
シュガンまだら
三刀流。
ここはまだら狩り。